Okay, got it to work. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Healing with Crystals 101. I am Katie Langston, and I am a master intuitive Reiki healer. I've been a healer for over 10 years, working in the metaphysical realms for a very long time, and I am so excited to share with you the power and potency of the crystal kingdom and lots of different unique ways to use the crystal energy in your daily life how to harness crystals, the ins and outs, the 101, all that you need to know of maximizing the power that crystals hold. So we are going to have a very information-packed evening tonight, and we're going to open it up at the end for some quick questions if anyone has any. And we're going to start with a nice guided meditation. So I just want to welcome you all in, wherever you're tuning in from, anywhere in the world. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. And let's begin. We're just going to wait just another minute. If anyone needs to get a quick cup of water, notebook, crystals, whatever you need to kind of set the space, just invite you to take that time right now before we drop into our meditation and sync up all of our energy together as we begin. Okay, quick question. Are there going to be a replay? Yes, there will be a replay. Absolutely. So you'll be able to come back to this information. And as we go through the slide presentation, I'll have everything really easily laid out. Please feel free to take pictures with your phones of the slides so you can have that. So sometimes, writing everything down with pen and paper doesn't always work. So I invite you to open it up with slides to take those pictures. I'm just getting everything set up here. Amazing. All right. So again, if you're just joining us, welcome to Crystals 101. My name is Katie Langston, and I'm so grateful to be here with you this evening. Hello, Jennifer. Just checking the chats really quick. Okay. All right, everyone. So let's dive in. I want you all to get seated in a comfortable position in a nice chair with your feet firm on the floor, back straight up. If you happen to have your special crystal with you, I invite you to hold it in your lap or in your hands while we do this guided meditation. If you have a small crystal, you can just hold it in your hands. And let's go ahead and begin now with closing our eyes, our feet firm on the floor, our palms facing up on the tops of our legs, back nice and straight, and just taking some nice deep breaths, grounding our energy in, breathing in through the nose. And as you exhale, just releasing any tension, any stress held within the body. And as you exhale, go ahead and give a nice release, a nice sound as you're just letting everything go, just the weight from the day or the week or whatever is heavy on your mind or within your body. As you exhale, you are fully releasing and pulling this out. A couple more deep breaths in through the nose, breathing into those tight spaces in the body. And exhaling, fully letting go. Couple more together. Deep breath in through the nose. And letting everything go with a big exhale. Really squeezing everything out of the body. Tightening the stomach as you squeeze all of the air out. Big inhale in through the nose. Breathing in deeply. And just when you think you can't take any more air in, just take another couple sips through the nose. Hold at the top for a second. And let go. Beautiful. Continue to keep the eyes closed as we start to sync up our energy here this evening. Open up our minds for clarity and receptivity of new information, new ideas. Aligning our hearts with our divine truth. And we're now going to bring grounding cords in to anchor and root our energy in. It's a really simple grounding practice that you can do anytime during the day when you just need extra support to ground your energy. So bring your attention and your awareness to the base of your tailbone, the bottom of your spine, to your root chakra. Out of the base of your tailbone, I want you to envision, feel, or just be present to a root growing out, coming out of the body, whatever shape, size, color, allow it to be whatever presents itself. And allow this root to start to move through the chair below you, move down through the floor beneath your feet, going through the layers and materials of your home as it starts to swiftly make its way through the first layer of the earth, starting to slowly drop down into all the layers of the earth. Now envision 2 roots coming out of each of your feet. It can be individual roots, or they can come out uniform together, one big root. And even if you can't see this, just be present to the awareness that this is happening and grounding your energy. Starting to drop these roots out through the feet, going through the floor beneath you, into the layers of the earth. Meeting the root now that came from the tailbone, from the spine. So they're now moving down through the layers of the earth at the same rate, same speed, swiftly and gracefully moving through all the deep layers of the earth as they begin to make their way to the crystalline core of the earth. And as they move quicker and quicker, you begin to start to feel some grounding energy come up as they're almost there to the center core. Continuing to just breathe and let these roots drop effortlessly down from your body. Now these roots have sealed around the crystalline core, this big sphere in the center of the earth. And as soon as they reach this core, they seal. And once they touch it and seal, they become cylinders of light. These beams of light, they're coming straight up into your body, through your feet and through your tailbone. And once these columns of light have been created, grounding energy from the earth begins to move up, coming in now to ground all the cells in the body, ground the organs, ground the mind. And as this grounded earth energy starts to come up, any energy, any tension in the body that isn't serving begins to drop down, creating this recycling of energy, dropping down to be recycled and cleansed and then brought back up through the earth's energy. So begin to just breathe into this and feel this natural cycle and flow of energy recycling and coming up in through the body as you just let go of what isn't serving and receive this grounded clarity, this deep rootedness, the Schumann frequency of the earth anchoring you here and now. And as you begin to feel this grounding energy, I want you to then bring your awareness and your attention to 3 feet above the center of your head from your crown. There is a big, bright ball of golden light, liquid golden light, glistening above the top of your head. This golden light now begins to cascade down in front of you, creating a golden seal protection grid as it starts to move 3 feet in front of you, down around the body, 3 feet under the feet, remaining 3 feet around the body, coming up the back, all the way till it goes to the top of the head to seal. Fully encased in the highest level of protection, the crystalline golden plasma light. Just feeling now the protection of your energy sealed and held. Just taking a moment and breathing that in. Beautiful. And whenever you're ready, begin to slowly wiggle your fingers, your toes. No rush, and just slowly starting to come back, meeting us all here in this sacred space together. Begin to open your eyes when you feel ready. Start to come back in. Taking your time, maybe get a quick sip of water, ground yourself. Beautiful. Welcome back. I feel so much better already. Amazing. All right. So let's begin. I'm going to pull up the slides for this evening as we start to dive into crystals. But before we begin, I'm just curious, since I can't see all of your faces, really let's utilize the chat tonight so we can keep this interactive experience going. So is anyone here familiar with crystals? Some of you might be experts. Some of you might be your first time even hearing about crystals in this material. So in the chat, just feel free to drop in your level of connection, how often you've worked with crystals, what you know about them. Any questions you have, the chat is going to be our space of interaction this evening, and I will try to answer all of your questions as they come. But we're going to have a really beautiful sectioned experience tonight. We are going to go over the ins and outs of how to choose crystals, crystal care, how to cleanse your crystals, charge crystals, activate crystals, how to work with different types of crystals at once, grids, you name it. So let's jump in. Amazing. All right, so I see some of you are beginners, never worked with them. Incredible. I am so thrilled and honored that some of you have never worked with crystals before. This is going to be such a beautiful evening. Welcome. All right, so let me just get my screen share started. And perfect. Awesome. Oh, we've got another Reiki master here. Awesome. Welcome. Okay. So can all of you, someone in the chat can just let me know if you see the screen share. Stop this and just go to the chat really quickly. Back one. Yes. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. All right, so we're going to go back to this. All right, we got it. Perfect. So, Crystal Healing 101. Welcome, welcome. As you can see here, this is amethyst crystal that I showcased to start, which is one of my most favorite crystals. I'm just going to move this out of the way so that I can see. Just not. 1 second. There's always a level of technical difficulties when we're working in the metaphysical realms with things, I swear. 1 second. When we do a screen share, you're not able to change the direction of the crystal. 1 second. Okay. Thank you for your patience. Let's see here if I can get this to work before it goes down. There we go. Okay. So, what are crystals? Crystals are made up of atoms or of the same element or atoms of different elements like silica or calcium. Crystals are minerals that are formed into particular shapes based on their chemical composition. Most crystals are formed when liquid rocks inside the earth cool and harden in a process that took millions of years. Okay. So here's another topic that I want to talk about just as we start to get into the process of crystals. Is I don't know how many of you are familiar with the different types of crystals we have now. We have lab-grown crystals and natural crystals. So we're going to go over some of the differences, and I'm going to share you my own kind of personal understanding of them as well. So I'm going to share with you the slide and then kind of drop in and talk with you a little more detailed about it. So lab-grown crystals are made of the same chemical material that natural crystals are made of. While the naturally occurring forming process is sped up with machines creating high temperatures and pressure. The difference between lab grown and natural are lab grown are flawless. Okay. They look perfect. You can actually see a picture of a lab grown diamond versus a true raw diamond. And you can see there's zero flaws. It's perfect. And they also have the same uniform color. So if you have, a big piece of amethyst, it's going to have that beautiful bright purple as opposed to natural amethyst, which changes in color, right? So the natural crystals have more unique colors, and they're always going to have natural flaws and differences. And some agree that they hold stronger psychic energies than lab grown, right? Because these crystals have been in the earth for millions of years, harnessing and holding that sacred connection and energy and information that the earth holds. Some people also prefer lab grown, saying that they hold the same energetic properties that natural crystals do, and that being grown in a lab creates less of a carbon footprint. Okay, this is considered the more eco-friendly approach to your crystals because it takes a lot of manpower, a lot of tools to dig deep into the earth to excavate these crystals and diamonds, right, and gems. So if they're being grown in a lab, it's much softer on the environment, of course. But some people, like I was saying, can say that natural crystals, they'll hold that unique property. So it's really something that I invite you to play around with when you're discovering crystals. When you go to a crystal shop, always ask before you buy it, was this lab grown or is this a naturally harvested crystal? And usually if your crystal shop knows where they receive all of their materials, they'll know whether that crystal was lab grown or natural. And go into a crystal shop, try a lab grown, feel it out, maybe even purchase one and purchase a natural one, and have your own inner experiment of what you think is stronger, what you feel more in resonance with. All right. Selecting crystals. What an overwhelming experience this can be sometimes, right? You go into the crystal shop, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of crystals, different colors, shapes, sizes. How do you know which one is right for you, right? You may have an intention, an idea of, oh, I want a piece of amethyst or I want rose quartz, but you go in there and you start reading all those little cards of information. How many of you have gone into a crystal shop and started reading the cards and say, oh my gosh, I need that, I need that, I need that. This happens to me all the time. So how do you know when you go to a shop exactly what crystals are going to be right for you, right? So whenever you're selecting crystals or anything metaphysical, always use your intuition. Let your intuition be your guide, okay? And be open to letting the crystal choose you. I can't tell you how many times I've gone into a crystal shop and I was so sure of something specific I was going to get, and I was pulled in a completely different direction. And then I was in the experience of, okay, that crystal is actually the one that I'm supposed to work with. So you may go to a crystal shop and expect to get one thing and be open that you may end up with something completely different. So when you're in a crystal shop or you're anywhere where you're going to be purchasing or experimenting or touching crystals, when you're wanting to pick one uniquely for you, pick up that crystal. If there's one that you see that catches your eye, take a moment with it, pick it up, hold it. I invite you to close your eyes, tune in with the crystal and really feel and see and ask the question. Sometimes I'll even ask, are you meant to come home with me? Is this the right crystal for me? And let that crystal kind of speak and connect with you based on what exactly, if it's really meant to go home with you, right? It's crazy how once you start to open yourself up, these crystals, they are alive and active, let me tell you. And so that unique property is available when we take the stillness to be able to drop in and really tune in with crystals, okay? And if you're going for your first time to a crystal store, take your time. Don't go when you have 20 minutes, right? Really allow yourself the spaciousness to see, to feel, to be in the energetic room of all of those crystals. And some of you are highly sensitive, right? So you're going to need to really take your time in really deciphering which ones are right for you and tuning in with those crystals, okay? So make a day of it, right? I'll go to crystal shops for like a whole day, right? And just really feel, connect, and tune in to exactly which ones are meant for you. And every crystal shop, by the way, will have a book that I'll recommend at the end as well, but it's called the Crystal Bible, or they'll have some type of a book that will be loaded with information. So you may find a crystal you know nothing about. go grab one of those books and pick it up and look into it and see. You'll be so shocked and surprised by how spot on that crystal was with exactly what you energetically need for your life. It's unbelievable. It happened to me many times where I'll just randomly grab one and not familiar with it. I'll open up the crystal book. I'll go into the section of where it is and I'll read about it. And it is exactly what it is that I need in my life. And so it's quite profound how these crystals communicate, connect, and choose us in a sense when we are open to receiving. So have fun with that, right? Really see which ones stand out to you. And also a fun thing to do, especially if they're all laid out on a countertop, is take your left hand and just close your eyes and let your hand kind of glide over all of the crystals. You can either notice that your hand will start to drop down over one particular crystal or an area of crystals, or it will actually, you'll feel an energy coming up, a vibration or tingling sensation when you're over a crystal that's right for you. So you get to kind of also open up your own intuition as you go into these crystal shops and tune in, tap into that part of yourself and really see the clarity and connection of the crystals that want to work with you. Just be open. I invite you to have fun. Crystals are all about having fun and play. So let's say you come back from your shop, you found your perfect crystal, the exact one that you want. What happens next, right? So crystals, the powerful thing about them is that they're absorbers of energy, right? So if this crystal has a very long journey that it went through before it made its way into your home and your life, right? Many hands have touched that crystal, especially if it's been in a crystal shop. It's been surrounded by different energies. Many people have probably touched and imprinted their energy into that crystal. So when you get home, the most important thing, first and foremost, to do is cleanse your crystals, okay? Bringing them back to their natural potent properties. And this can be done in many different ways that I'm going to go over. Super, super important. When you get a brand new crystal, step one, cleanse, cleanse, cleanse. Like I said, there's a lot of unwanted energy that just needs to be cleared out so that you can tune in to the sacred, unique properties that crystal will hold for you. So first thing to do, and I'm going to give you different examples of what you can do. Pick and play with which ones are right for you. I'm definitely going to say if this is a crystal that you know for a fact has been through many different hands, has been all over the place, the salt water one is going to be ideal for your first time cleansing it. So first thing that you can do is you can smudge your crystal, okay? So smudging is done with sacred smoke. You can use Palo Santo. I'm seeing just a couple messages come up. I'm unable to check the messages while I'm on. Let me see if it'll let me do that. Okay, chat. Okay, perfect. Let me try to get this chat out of the way now. Perfect. Okay, so smudging, okay? I just wanted to check the chat and make sure that everyone can hear me clearly and there wasn't a bunch of messages saying, sounds off, can't see anything. So apology for the interruption. Okay, so smudging, right? Sacred smoke, so powerful. We know that sacred smoke and smudging clears the space that we're in, clears our bodies, clears our environment. So the same clearing property that we can do in our home and around our space, we can equally bring to cleansing our crystals. So you can do this with sage, Palo Santo, frankincense, any of the sacred smokes that you know about that you use will work in cleansing your crystal. Make sure when you're cleansing your crystal, I like to put you can see here in the abalone shell, right? So the sage, I'll burn nice amount of sage. It's really pouring up in the abalone shell. And I'll take the crystal and I'll rotate it around so that every single tiny part of the crystal is being touched and bathed in the smoke. It's not something you want to just run through the smoke really quickly, right? You want to take the crystal and just like basically bathe it in the smoke, turning it around. And while you're doing this, you want to think of all of the unwanted energies releasing from this crystal. That's your intention. You're holding that in your space as you're cleansing it. You're thinking of all the energies of everyone who's touched it to be released and removed, and the natural properties to be restored and brought back. So that's the first thing you can do. And the second thing, this is the one I said, if you know the crystal's been through it, right? Has touched so many hands, really needs the deep clean, salt and water. So what you're going to do is you're just going to take a nice size bowl. Depending on how large your crystal is, you're going to definitely want to put the crystal in the center of the bowl. Make sure you have enough space to where the crystal's fully immersed in the water. And then you're going to, sorry, that chat thing keeps coming up. Apologies. We're having a lot of technical difficulties tonight. Thank you for your patience. You're going to make sure the crystal is fully submerged. Okay. Don't want any water. I don't want any part of the crystal to be exposed in the air. It's fully submerged. Once the crystal's in the center of the bowl, you're going to take a very generous amount of sea salt. I love to use sea salt. And I will just pour sea salt all over the crystal, completely covering it, right? And you're going to leave that crystal in the bowl. Set it in a corner in your kitchen or in your pantry or even a closet. And I want you to set an intention with this crystal, placing your hands over the bowl, closing your eyes and offering up a prayer that all of the negative, all of the unwanted energies that have been influenced or impacted into this crystal are gently removed and released. So you're setting that intention as you place the crystal in with the water, that this crystal is being purified and brought back to its natural original properties, okay? I like to leave these in the water with salt for about 2 days. There's been times where I've left crystals in water for 3 days. You can also just feel into your intuition. Maybe your crystal just needs 1 day, but 2 days is a good place to start, especially for a new crystal, okay? And then the other option to do, which is really great as well, is placing your crystal in the earth. Just digging a little hole and placing it directly in the earth, covering it back up, making sure it's fully covered. Of course, leaving a marker so you know where your crystal is, and just setting an intention with your hand over the crystal that it's being cleansed and purified with all of the energies that have been absorbed and bringing it back to its original state, right? This is a really powerful way to purify the crystal. So you can also leave this in the earth for about 2 days, right? Really let it charge up, clear out, and come back to center in that crystal. Really purify it. And another fun way, which is super easy to do, right, is use selenite crystal. Selenite is a powerful crystal. It is a crystal that absorbs and purifies negative energy. I have a huge piece of selenite crystal at the base of my bed in my bedroom because it is a powerful crystal to constantly be purifying, cleansing, and clearing the energy, okay? So selenite has this beautiful, unique property where it not only transmutes energy, it can transmute and purify crystals as well. So you can actually place your crystals on top of a piece of selenite to purify and cleanse. You can also place a piece of selenite in a bag with several crystals to let those crystals purify and cleanse the energy as well. One thing about selenite that I'll touch on a little later too, that I just want to keep impressing upon you, selenite cannot be placed in water. It doesn't ever need to be cleansed. It's already a cleansed crystal. You can sage it if you choose when you first get it, but it doesn't necessarily need to be cleansed. And if it's placed in water, it will actually dissolve. So I've had people I know have this happen. You put it in a bath, you put it in water, and next thing you know, you come up and it's like this small when it was this big. It will absolutely dissolve. So no water for your selenites, okay? I'm just going to take a quick second here and check the chat because I see. Excuse me, we have somebody here that's making some rude comments. Let's go ahead and just ask that. Yeah, if the tech team that's on here today, if you can help handle that of the person in the chat, that'd be really awesome. Thank you. Okay, I just need to move this out of the way. I can't see the chat when I'm in the middle of this, so I apologize for this person. So the tech person that's on with me tonight, if you could just block this person. This is just really inappropriate. They're writing a bunch of negative things into the comment section. That would be really helpful. Thank you so much. Awesome. All right. Wow, we've got a lot of energy here tonight, everyone. There's a lot moving and shaking. Is everyone doing good? Everyone here with me still? Hopefully everyone's feeling well. Yeah, okay. Oh. Sometimes there's these nights where there's just a lot coming on. So after you, thank you for that. I apologize for the rudeness of that text. Just breathing back in with you all. We just come back to anchor. Thank you. All right. So now that you've cleansed your crystals, right? You've removed all of the energy that is not serving and bringing them back to their original potency. What are you going to do next? You get to charge them, right? There's so many amazing ways to charge your crystals to really imprint what you do desire to cultivate and use with that crystal, right? You get to also set your intention into the crystal of the purpose that you brought it into your life for. You get to imprint that purpose and intention into the crystal, okay? So here are some amazing ways charging up your crystals. I'm sure some of you have heard of the first one, which is moon energy, right? Full moon, new moon. How many of you have done moon charging with your crystals? I have many, many times, all the time, right? This is when either on a full moon, and let's be specific here, full moon crystal charging is for releasing of energy, charging it with the sacred feminine energy, or working with any of the energies you are uniquely working on for that full moon release, okay? So bring your crystals out, fully cleansed and ready to go. I like to lay them out outside where they're going to have a nice amount of moonlight all night, okay? And as you lay them out, you're going to just set the intention of exactly why you're working with that moon energy, whether it's for the full moon or the new moon. So let's just say it's full moon. You want the releasing energy. You're going to lay specific crystals that are helping you clear out unwanted energies in your life, purifying, cleansing the mind, releasing things that are no longer serving. And you're also wanting to maybe bring in some sacred feminine energy, okay? This is the time. Set that intention with those crystals while they're laying out there. Let that full moon charge them up. And they're also being charged with the energy and potency of that full moon. Have fun when you're looking into the moon calendar, because each moon, full moon and new moon, represent different energies. We're constantly having different astrological events occurring at the time of these full moon and new moon, right? So really tune in and see where's the moon at and what other astrological energies are at play and the imprint and the energies of that specific moon. Because you can really harness some deep, potent power when you're starting to play around with this alchemy, right? This energetic alchemy. So then you can also play around with new moon, right? This is when the moon is completely dark outside. You can still place your crystals outside. There's still energy being received. New moons are all about creation, new beginnings, manifestation, what you want to call into your life and cultivate. So set that intention as all of the crystals are laid out that evening, and leave these crystals out for full moon and new moon charging all night, the entire night. And you can even leave them out just a little bit into the morning. You want to be mindful though, if you're working with citrine or amethyst, if they're exposed to the sun for too long, it can definitely fade the color of the crystal. So I've had this happen where I've had a beautiful piece out, let it, kind of in a window seal, receiving sun all day, and it definitely diminished the color. So citrine, I know for sure, and amethyst are very sensitive to sunlight as far as affecting their colors. So just be mindful. You don't want to leave it out for the entire day, but let some sunlight activate those crystals as well, bringing in that powerful sun energy in the morning. This is a fun way to work with the moon energy. Another way, similar to what we were just talking about with cleansing the crystals, is putting them in the earth to charge as well, right? So the earth, this is where they were birthed. This is where they're from. This is the potent energy of Mother Earth. So same technique, bury a small hole, place the crystal inside, and you can also add flower petals, special herbs that you're working with that will be supportive roles for that crystal's unique properties. Bury the crystal, keep it in the earth for 2 to 3 days, and let this purifying process of charging, grounding, anchoring this crystal back into its strength and power. This is a great technique to do. And this is a fun one to just have this kind of creative experiment with and try. And I like to play around when I'm working with all of these techniques, and I invite you all to do the same. Try them all out and see which ones you find the strength in, whether that's moon charging, earth charging, which cleansing techniques you find are stronger for your crystals. This is your discovery and your process of really finding out which one of these techniques is going to be the most potent for you. So this is a great one specifically for Chi Life. Our next one is the Chi Coil. You guys know you can charge your crystals with the Chi Coil and with the frequencies. All you have to do is put your Chi Coil out, place your crystal on top of it, or place your Chi Coil on top of your crystal, and run whatever frequency you desire to charge that crystal. So whatever unique energy you're working with in your life that you're wanting to use your frequencies for, equally bring that into the crystal. And a really cool way to deepen this energetic power is to choose a crystal that is going to be a match for that frequency. So let's just say, for instance, you're working with a protection crystal. Well, you're not going to want to do an amplification energy, or a grounding crystal. You're not going to want to do an amplification energy. You're going to want to have a matched grounding energy. So really try to match up the crystal's properties with the frequencies to really maximize the potency of that energy. So it's a super fun one that you can do. And then, of course, sacred sites. Any sacred sites. And it doesn't have to be sacred sites, these big monumental statues all around the world. These can just be sacred sites that are unique for you. Maybe it's somewhere in the forest or somewhere you love to go hiking that holds energy for you. Bring your crystal here to charge. Maybe it's a creek or a body of water that you're connected to. You can bring your crystal there to charge it. You can also bring it to sacred sites as you travel around the world. I had this really powerful experience. I was in Peru and I was up in Machu Picchu, and I had this powerful piece of kyanite that I had with me my entire trip. And I actually brought it up to Machu Picchu, placed it into the earth, did a bunch of work with it there. And then there's a water system running through the entire city, basically, of Machu Picchu up at the top of the mountain. And this water has been running through this grid for ever since it was created, thousands of years, who knows really how long, right? So I placed my crystal in the same running water where they used to receive their water from here at the sacred site, and just charged it there. And let me tell you, that crystal to this day from that trip still holds the potency and power of that journey. I'll grab it out from time to time and just tune in, and it just transports you, right? So there is power to bringing these crystals to these sacred places and working with them, okay? A very fun thing to try out and play around with. And of course, charging with bodies of water. So whether this is a river or an ocean, I suggest running water. Sometimes certain still lakes can be stagnant energy, stagnant water. I love running water, water that's moving, that's going somewhere, that's cleansing, charging, activated, and alive. So ocean is great, right? Bringing your crystal out into the ocean, maybe even taking some ocean water back, charging your crystal in the ocean water. So many different applications and ways to play with the water to charge your crystal. Again, you get to just try all of these out and experiment. All right, everybody still doing good? Still with me? Clearly, I love crystals so much, and I'm so excited to share all this with you guys. I'm so honored. Okay. So you've cleansed your crystals, you've charged your crystals, and now it is time to set your intentions, right? So not only are you setting the intention of what you want, you're setting the intention of why you're using this crystal. Okay, so we're getting these specific crystals for a purpose. We want to work with this energy of healing our hearts, calling in beloveds, protecting us, opening our throat chakra, giving us strength and power, right? So when we cleanse these crystals, charge them, bring them back up, they are this beautiful, raw, natural state that are open and ready to receive our intention to work with them, okay? So set intentions, right? This is a beautiful, and I'm just going to give you some great examples about ways that you can work with them, how you can set the intention, and then play around and find your own discoveries as you go through this journey as well. And just before we go into this, I just see, I'm just going to go It is such a complicated journey to touch the chat, move the chat up, and then also come back to these because I can't see my cursor. So I just wanted to drop in, make sure everybody's following along with me and just tune in, making sure. Okay, so someone had a quick question. They said that I'm scared of leaving it in the open. Can they be in a bag or box or covered in a tray? Absolutely. You can definitely do that. You can cover them, whatever you feel safe doing. You don't ever want to feel scared or worried that the crystal's going to be taken or something's going to happen. You want to follow something that's going to make you feel expansive when you're working with this type of stuff. Okay. So if you're feeling scared or you're finding a way like, oh, that doesn't work for me, I need to do X, do that. Do what makes you feel the best. And then one more question says, how do I go about using a crystal to help me struggling with my job? I have stepped down from management role and I'm struggling with whether I should stay with the company at all. Great question. We will go over that of some ways to manifest with crystals and different crystals that are coming up. So we'll touch on that. And if your question is still not answered at the end, please put it back in the chat and I'll go back over it. Someone said, yes, I was in Machu Picchu too. Beautiful, Jennifer. Yep. It's so powerful there. And quick question is, what's a chi coil? Is there a certain one you suggest? So a chi coil is the signature energetic device from Chi Life. It's a beautiful, I'll pull one out here in just a minute. It's a beautiful toroidal shaped power force, really, that harnesses frequencies, PEMF frequencies, and plays them into the body, into the space in which you're in, and equally can play them, the energy and frequency, into your crystals. So I invite you to check out the Chi Life store if you're not sure what chi coils are, and that's a absolute fun journey down a rabbit hole of amazingness. So much to look at there. Okay, so I'm just gonna move the chat if I can out of the way. So sorry, these slides keep changing on you guys. Thank you for your patience. If only they made things a little easier as far as navigating the screen sharing at the same time as being able to manage the chat without having to exit the whole thing and start it all back up. So I really appreciate your guys' patience so much. Okay, let's see if I can drag this down without having to close it. Okay. It's just not. Okay, I'm just going to come up here. Okay, moving this out. Thank you for your patience. Okay, now we're going back to the screen share. I'm going to leave all the comments off for now. I'm just going to check in with you guys throughout, but we're going to not keep doing the comment checking. So you feel free to write in the chat box, but I'm just going to keep going through the slides because I'm just having such a hard time trying to be able to pull it up and then talk to you all. So again, thank you for your patience, but let's just stay on this. So that is my letting go. Beautiful. Okay. Thank you. Setting intentions. All right. So I suggest using one crystal at a time. Sometimes you'll go to a crystal shop and you'll buy a whole bunch of crystals. When you're setting the intention, really choose one at a time. Really take that sacred space and tune in with that individual crystal. Now, there is cases where you maybe bought a bunch of rose quartz or a bunch of clear quartz. That's okay. So you can work with all of them at the time that you're setting the intention, as long as you're setting the intention with those crystals for the same unified intention. Okay. So the best way to do is just to sit down in a meditation, right? Sage your space, get quiet, drop in, tune in with the crystals, get clear with what your intention is before you even start to work with them and setting the intention. And then just close your eyes, hold your crystals in your hand or place them on your lap. And you can also place them over your third eye as well, or hold them directly over your third eye as you're setting your intention. And then just say it out loud. Say what your desired intention is. What are you wanting to work with this crystal for? Maybe it's for support. Like one of you were just sharing, you want clarity, you want confidence with your job, you want the strength and power to step into a new role, protection, love, healing that self-love, calling in a beloved, right? There's so many ways that we want to work with this specific energy. Maybe you want to activate, right? You want to tune into different psychic gifts that you have, set the intention and be specific. Let's say you're getting a crystal you're working with that's specific for third eye activation. Hold that over your third eye and tune in with that. Let that crystal know you're ready to work with it specifically for opening your third eye. Then go even deeper. What exactly about opening your third eye do you want from the crystal, right? So you want to open your clairvoyance. You want to be able to astral travel. You want to be able to remote view. Be specific with exactly what it is that you want. Sometimes when we're generic, when we're setting intentions, whether that be in our life or working with crystals, we're going to get more of a generic surface result. But when we get super specific and we cut right in to exactly what it is that we want, we're going to be able to receive that potency back in our life. So take your time, right? If you want protection, maybe you're not going to just say, please protect me. You're going to say, please protect me from unwanted dark infiltration energies. Protect me from the energy of the person that works next to me at work that's always looking at me and throwing negative energy my way. Keep their energy away from me. Be specific with exactly what the intention is. So you're using ones for your home, right? To grid your house. You're going to want to set that intention and ask for that angelic higher support as well to hold the intention with purification of your home and protection. So you're holding these crystals thinking, this is going to protect my home, keep unwanted energies out, keep me safe and held and loved. Set that intention and be specific, okay? And put it into the crystal. Visualize it, feel that intention. If you're calling in a beloved, let's say, for instance, you're working with rose quartz, feel the love pouring in. Feel what it feels like to love that beloved. Tune into the depths of the specific frequency of your request. It's really powerful. Bring it all in. Feel it, think it, see it, say it. And then once that is complete, I like to say, and you're welcome to say this, it is done, it is done, it is done. Okay, so you're going to say it is done 3 times. You can also close it with so it is or mote it be. Those are also fun ones to kind of encapsulate the energy, let the energy know that it's complete, it's done, it's already been put out into the universe and ready to come. Okay. You can also ask for your crystal's natural properties to shine, right? So let's say you're not really clear, you got this new crystal, not exactly sure what your intention is with working with it, but it has some things that you're feeling in resonance with. Simple, really, really simple one is you can just ask for the natural properties of that crystal to shine into your life, right? For all the power that it has to just be able to amplify and support you in your life. So those are some really great ways to play around with intention setting and have fun with them. Try them all out, try everything on, right? And see what really individually works for you. This is supposed to be fun. Make a night of it. Maybe do it on a full moon or new moon based on your crystal, right? And play around with them. All right, placement. So now again, we've charged, we've cleared, we've charged, we've set intentions. Now where do we put them? What do we do with these crystals now that they're ready to help support us in our life, right? So I have a cool thing right here, which is the map, the feng shui map, right? The directions map. I like to use the directions when working with feng shui because when you're just going off the love corners in the right side of the room, it actually could be in a completely direction based on the actual directions of the energy, right? So you need to be specific. So feel free to take a picture of this slide right now so you all have this, or you can Google it, but you want to do the direction feng shui map. So you can see, okay, the south corner is going to be for fame. The southeast is going to be for money. Southwest is for love and marriage, right? West is for creativity. So as you are setting, the intentions with these crystals of what you want, you could then get to go and see where in your home in your room, in your life, you're going to place your crystal to let it start to emanate out its power and energy. So feng shui, it would be the first thing if you want crystals to bliss up your environment, okay? This is something you're wanting to create and call into your life. Also, you can do this for manifestation. So if you're calling in a new job, a new partner, something for your health, you're dealing with a health crisis, you're wanting to activate different gifts, build an altar somewhere in your home based on where these directions are, and bring your unique crystal into that altar space to help amplify and anchor in that energy into your life. And then go there each day, once a week, as often as you can, to sit and meditate and be connected to that space and that crystal as it's anchoring in that space for you in your life. It's also reminding you and imprinting in what it is that you're calling in. It's bringing you into the awareness as you create these altar spaces to really remind us of exactly the clarity of what it is that we want. So feng shui is a great way to figure out where the crystals should go, right? I had a really interesting thing happen with my mom. Actually, she got a brand new citrine crystal and she charged it, in the moonlight, did the whole thing and ended up putting it in her room on the side of her bed. She was telling me, she goes, after I put this crystal there, business just completely opened up. I started receiving, all these new clients, money just came pouring in. And I said, well, let's see where you put it in relation to the house, because we want to make sure you put this in the southeast corner, right? So we go in, we get the map, we get the compass out, and just so happens it was exactly in the southeast corner where she ended up naturally just placing it. And we both had a good laugh, but it was really powerful because she just started working with this not that long ago. And just with this crystal having been placed in the exact location it should have been for money and abundance, that just started to flow into her life powerfully. So there is a lot of energetic alchemy. I'm going to say this again, energetic alchemy at play here when we're working with these metaphysical properties. So play around with this one and have fun. All right. So of course we can wear crystals, right? So I have my moonstone on right here. This is one of my favorite pieces. Wearing crystal, adorning our bodies with these sacred properties of these crystals, right? You can wear, earrings, necklaces, rings, bracelets, you name it. But I want to just present something. You never really want to wear more than maybe 2 or 3 crystals that are touching each other at a time. Sometimes we can get excited, right? And we get all these amazing crystal jewelry and we've got, 5 necklaces on and, bracelets up to here and rings and earrings. And there's, certain energies that are for grounding, certain energies that are for uplifting, some energies are for protection, some energies are, to activate our psychic powers. There's so much going on that sometimes these crystals can actually compete with each other based on their energetic properties. So you have one crystal that's, here to inspire, uplift, and then you have one crystal that's trying to ground you in. So when you're wearing crystals, I invite you to pick ones that are going to be supportive that day, that evening, whenever you wear them. So if you're going to wear some crystals that are specifically going to open up your throat, maybe some turquoise, don't bring something in that's going to be more of an introverted and introspective crystal that's for meditation, right? So really tune in and see and start to learn about the properties that your crystals and your jewelry holds, okay? This also applies to gemstones. We're not going to touch on gemstones necessarily in this class, but gemstones hold a lot of energy as well. So some of us will be wearing, diamonds, rubies, sapphires, different gems. Make sure that those are complementary to the different crystals that you're wearing that day, right? Have fun, play around and discover it. You're going to hear me say have fun a million times because it's just so important, right? That's really where we have this playfulness with the energies. We got to have fun. So make sure you really tune in and learn about your crystals. It's so easy to just Google it, look up their information, benefits, properties of what these crystals hold. So another great place to put your crystals is your car. You can grid your car. You can put crystals in your car. I have a whole crystal grid in my car, in several places in my car. And it is so powerful to just have that protection, have that grounded energy anchored in to our car in the space that we're in so often, right? We're driving around everywhere. And it's nice to just have a crystal right there, maybe one that helps you with stress. It's been a long day from work. Every day you get in that car, you get to grab your crystal and just kind of decompress on your drive home. or it just is in the space, emanating that energetic property out to you to ground, anchor you in as you're heading home. So again, check out and see which crystal properties you want for your car and bring those in. Try some different ones out. Same rule applies to wearing jewelry. A small space like your car, you're not going to want to have a lot of competing energies when it comes to your crystals. Really work with crystals that are going to be complementary if you're going to place them together in a small space. All right, so placement is home. We all talked about feng shui of the different areas in your home, right? You can also do a crystal grid around your home. And we're going to get into some more of that with gridding, but placing them around the outside of your property. You can bury them in the earth all along your property. They don't have to be stacked right next to each other to make a perfect little grid, by the way. You can spread them out, into all the corners around your home and your house. And this is a really great way to just place them around your space, create that intention and that grid of what the purpose of your home is, or just overall protection. Also, a fun one is plants. You can put them in your garden and in your plants. I have tons of crystals that are just in the pot in a plant, right? And you're going to want to place a crystal there that is maybe going to be supportive for the plant. So really discovering which crystals are going to kind of want to be where the plants go, and tune in with your crystals. Sometimes they'll tune in with you and kind of share and push you of where they actually want to be. And you might just pick up a crystal one day and walk over to your plant and put it in there and be like, oh, yeah, I just did that. Trust that, right? You're just kind of being guided and shown of where to put your crystal, as well as all around your house. I've grabbed crystals up and, just kind of intuitively started placing them in different directions. I wasn't intentionally getting a book out or thinking about, oh, it's got to go here, got to go there. I just let the intuition come. So be open to that too. If you just kind of grab a crystal and you're like, oh, I'm going to put that there without thinking about it or making it needing to be specific to a specific area. Also let intuition be taking lead here too when it comes to crystals. They'll tell you, they'll let you know. All right. So another way of working with crystals. How beautiful does this crystal bath look, by the way? Incredible. Let's talk about a powerful sacred night of charging up right there with some rose quartz. That's potent. So an amazing way to work with crystals is taking baths, right? Putting the crystals in your water. The water is such an amplifier of energy. So when you're placing crystals in water, it's going to amplify their energetic powers. It's going to charge up the water that you're bathing in, that you're immersing yourself in. So this is a great way to really play and work with your crystals. And again, rule applies for all ways when you're working with multiple crystals at once. Make sure they're complementary. Don't want to put two competing crystals into your bath. Really focus on one type of crystal or two crystals that are going to work well together. So as you can see here, this is a rose quartz bath, right? This is a powerful time of calling in, beloveds, working with love, working with self-love, deepening that inner love within, healing the heart. This would be a great space for that. And again, the selenite can't go in water, and nor can desert rose, which is another beautiful crystal. Both of those will dissolve if they are placed into water. So make sure you make note of that one. Drinking, okay? Putting crystals in your water. I'm sure many of you have tried this before. I know I have. There's crystal water bottles now, right? That have this big crystal in it, and you actually can put it in a cup of water and it's immersed and like just suspended in this crystal water, or the crystal suspended into the water. So crystals, water's chargeable, right? We can actually imprint into water. We talked about this in the manifestation class, whoever was here in that one, about the powerful ways of setting the intention into water, because water is programmable, right? We can program water. So there's a powerful connection when we can program water with crystals. We're setting that intention, not only vocally and saying our intention into our water, but we're placing crystals in the water that are going to support that as well. So sometimes I'll just take a big jug of water, place my crystals in it, leave it out all night, drink the water the next day, and man, do I feel the effects. Another fun tip that you can try out that I've done many times is take a big jug of water, place that specific crystal in, place the jug with the crystals in the moonlight, full moon, new moon, and let the moon also charge the water with the crystals, taking it up to another level, right? That's a fun one to try out and really just have that powerful moon water that's been charged with the crystals all night. So many different ways you can find crystal vessels, crystal water bottles, so many great ways to use crystals and charge that up. So we spoke a little bit about the jewelry, but here we go again with wearing jewelry. That's how we work with crystals, right? We put them on our body. You really want to make sure when you're working with crystals and you want the full potency of them when you're wearing them, you want them to be touching the skin, right? Like I love this piece so much, but there's actually a backing to it. So the moonstone isn't touching the skin. I'm still receiving the energy of it, right? But when the crystal is fully touching the skin, whether that be a bracelet or a necklace or earrings, you're going to receive a deeper connection with that power, right? So if you bought this beautiful crystal necklace and it's kind of covered in silver or gold and it's held in that and it's, kind of the gold is what's touching you, you're not going to receive as deep a potency as if the crystal's lying directly on the skin. So when you're going to get jewelry, if you're wanting specific properties, like you really need this crystal protection necklace, make sure you get one that's going to be touching your skin. It's a great one to try and work with. All right, so for healing, so for years, I would do crystal healings. I would actually just do my whole energy healing and I would use crystals the entire session, whether that be right over the chakras or specific crystals over different parts of the body, or working with crystals that I knew this person needed the specific healing from. When you're working with crystals for healing, you get to just open that intuition up. Let the crystals tell you where they need to go. Just feel into where the placement is. You can really put them anywhere on the body. You can also tune in with what crystals are connected with what chakra points. Place those on each chakra point or lay them down on a yoga mat and lay down kind of almost on top of them and do a meditation laying on the crystals over the chakras. Really powerful way to reset and heal the energy. Another amazing way, which we'll cover a little more later, is grids, crystal grids. So like I was sharing before, placing a grid around your home, you can grid your car, and you can create grids for specific intentions, right? So grids are a great way to work with crystals as well. All right, everybody doing good? Just doing a quick check in. I'm not going to pull the comments up, so we'll just be here together. So now we're going to go over specific crystals for specific properties. Okay, so we're going to work with healing, manifestation, stress, how to really use what crystals are for the specific things in our life that we need support with. So first of all, love. Who doesn't want crystals to help bring in more love, self-love in our lives, right? Such a powerful thing. Love is the highest frequency there is. It's the most powerful in frequency. It can transmute anything and everything. So starting here is a great place. Okay, so I see someone raise their hand, which obviously brings my attention to that. So I'm going to just drop in with you all right now instead of the slideshow and just make sure everyone has what they need. Okay, I've got a hand raised and I want to help support the person whose hand is raised. Okay, so quick question is, when I buy crystals online, how do I know the crystals come with good or bad energy? You don't. You have no idea, but you get to cleanse them, right? So you're going to buy the crystal and you automatically get to cleanse it. So you don't really know whether you're buying it from a shop or buying it online where this crystal's been, if it's been around bad energy or good energy, which is why it's important to cleanse it. So I hope that one answers your question. And I saw someone else had a couple questions that I want to just drop in on. Okay. Can you use Reiki to clear energy with your crystals? You can. You absolutely can. I've done that many times where I've energetically cleared crystals. However, if it's a crystal that's being brought in from a shop, it's been touched with so many different hands, I just invite you to cleanse it in some different ways as well. But throughout your day, when you're working on doing healings on people and you're using crystals, go ahead, cleanse it up right away. Very important. Okay, one more question says, how can we find out which crystals are supportive with each other and be worn together? Great question. I almost did a whole thing specifically on which crystals should go together, but here it's just too much information. So we have a beautiful, connection at our fingertips where we can Google anything. So you can Google crystals, crystal connection. Can this crystal be worn with this other one? Also, buying crystal books, it will usually say in most crystal books which ones are complementary and which ones aren't. A good rule of thumb is if you're working with love crystals, for instance, most of them all will work well together. If you're working with protection crystals, most all of those will work well together, as well as activation, abundance, prosperity. If you're working with those specific types, almost all of those will work really well together. And then let's just see. Okay, and then what about wearing chakra bracelets, which is very popular? Yeah, chakra bracelets is totally okay. The intention of that is to work with the chakra energy. However, can you please just be mindful of how your energy feels? So if you're wearing a chakra bracelet and you're feeling a little bit wonky, it might be too much crystal energy all at once. So just tune in and see how you feel and where you're at with that. Can you share your slides? Thanks. Yeah, I'll go back to sharing slides. Was there a specific slide that you needed help with? Just want to make sure you're good with that. Just go ahead and answer that question of what specific slide you need. And then I see two people have their hands raised. Did you, if you want to just jump into the chat, did you have your hand raised for a specific question or did you need to share something? Let me know. I'm going to take a quick little sip of water here. Okay. So let's get back to it. Before we start back up, does anyone have any questions before we continue to go on? Thank you all so much for your patience and presence here tonight. Okay, give you one more second before we go back in. I wanted to just touch on one more thing before we start back up, which was just about using crystals for healing. If you're going to work with using crystals on healing multiple people, and I'll talk about this, I believe, a little later too, but you never want, if you're working, if you're doing energy healings and you're using crystals, or you're working with people that are touching the crystals frequently all day, you're going to want to cleanse those crystals after each client or after each person that's using them. Simply with smoke is the easiest way. You can even use a smudge spray if you're in an area you can't light smoke, but if you have somebody else outside of you that's interacting with these crystals frequently, you're going to want to cleanse those consistently all day. All right, let's head back to the slides. All right, crystals for love. Who doesn't want more love in their life, right? So I'm just picked, by the way, just a few different ones as we go through these slides. Have fun, look into all the different crystals that would be beneficial for love, okay? Or any of the topics that we're going to cover. But generally, rose quartz, number one, right? Number one love crystal for self-love and for your calling in beloveds, working with love energy. Rose quartz is great for healing the past, balancing love and compassion and romance. And we have pink agate, which promotes love and harmony, bonding, emotional strength, and eliminates negative energy. We have peach aventurine, which protects from negative energy, easing overthinking, worrying, and anxiety. Jade for healing and gentleness, opening the heart chakra, bringing luck and love. All right, so this is our love one. Feel free to take a picture of this screen as we move on to the next one. Then we have crystals for abundance, right? So we've got citrine, aventurine, carnelian, diamond, topaz, ruby, and cinnabar. Okay, so number one, citrine. It's I think, one of the most powerful abundance stones there are. Be mindful when you're getting citrine, though. There is a lot of false citrine out there. There's actual amethyst that can be brought into such a high temperature that it can change its coloring to mimic citrine. So make sure when you're buying citrine, you want to really ask questions about where it came from, what they know about the crystal. And usually a good judge is citrine that's really inexpensive is usually not real. Citrine's a pretty expensive stone, or crystal. So you want to be mindful when you're purchasing that. If you find this big, beautiful piece that's $30, it's probably not real citrine. So you want to look for citrine that's actually real. And you don't need a huge chunk for all of these crystals, right? You don't need to get, geodes and these big pieces. You can even just start working with small crystals, okay? So citrine's a great one. And some of these other ones, I'm not going to necessarily read about all of them, but you can study and pick up on all of them as you work with them. They're powerful, abundant stones. All right, and then we have protection. These are the powerhouses for helping you with protection energy, right? So feel free to take a picture of this. Google, do your research on these specifically to find out all of their unique properties for protection. But we have amethyst, pyronite, labradorite, obsidian, onyx, black tourmaline, and smoky quartz. And as you can kind of see, you'll see a theme a little bit here. So the love stones will usually a lot of times have pink in them, right? And abundant stones will usually be a yellow or a green. You'll find that similarity. And protection a lot of times are the darker colors, right? The black, more smoky, dark colors. So there's sometimes there's some similar themes there. If you're in a crystal shop and you're like, oh, there's this dark color crystal, what does it do? Good chance it might be for protection. All right, manifestation. And you'll see too, there's similar crystals in a lot of these areas. So these crystals are universal. They're not just for one specific thing. They can be used for so many different purposes and intentions and hold very diverse properties. So amethyst, such a powerful one. I just want to touch on these ones. So this one's for manifesting spirituality and wisdom. It's one of my most favorite stones to work with is amethyst. We also have citrine, which we just spoke about, carnelian, which is for manifesting creativity and movement. Really good kind of moving the energy, getting the energy going and charged up is carnelian. Clear quartz, amplifier of your intentions. Clear quartz is one of the greatest ones because clear quartz is it holds so many unique properties, but it's also a crystal that can be so deeply programmable, right? You can really program a lot with clear quartz. It's one of the crystals that one of my spiritual teachers shared with me, that you can actually program other crystals into a clear quartz with certain intentions and alchemy of working with them. That's how open to receiving intention setting they are. Rose quartz for manifesting love. And apatite for manifesting inspiration. Okay. Now here is some crystals from the crystal kingdom for stress relief, right? So important. Help kind of calm the nervous system down. Take a moment, help with stress. These are some really powerful crystals here. We have lepidolite. Some of them I don't pronounce perfectly because there's different ways that I've heard them pronounced. Ocean jasper, sterolite, dipotas, smithsonite, rose quartz. I'm just dropping in here with these stress relievers. So powerful. And again, some of them have been in other areas. You see this rose quartz has a very similar theme. It's really showing up a lot. Crystals for depression. Okay, so we have for depression, these crystals are the ones you're going to want to work with. Amethyst, rhodochrosite, labradorite, citrine, lapis lazuli, amber, and rose quartz. Just checking in here and seeing. Amethyst is such a powerful one. I use that one a lot for helping calm the nervous system, calm and ease the mind. And amber promotes cheerfulness, trust, and strength. And amber is actually a really great one for helping kids with teething. I'm sure many moms out there I know I had one for my son, the amber necklaces, right? On the skin and just helping calm the nervous system and helping support with pain during teething. All right, so now we are moving into grids. Look at this beautiful rose quartz grid here. So grids are great. They can be made in your home. in the corners of your home. And you could do a specific crystal grid. It doesn't have to be a uniformed grid like the one you see here in this picture. It could just be a grid where you take, let's just say you're going to use black tourmaline for protection, and you're going to place it in the corners of your home with the intention of creating an energetic grid of protection and a light shield for your home, right? So you can place a crystal on each level of your home in different corners so that it's touching all of the corners. That's the idea when you're doing grids for your home, is you really want to make sure that there is a crystal in each corner. It doesn't have to be on the same floor, but you'd put one on one corner, one level, the next level, and just making sure each corner of the home has a crystal in it. And then once the crystals are placed out throughout the house for the grid, close your eyes and set the intention, and then just take your hand running it along the grid line, right? Sealing the grid energetically. All you have to do is literally just close your eyes and just go through each of the crystals, syncing them up and sealing in that grid around your home or your car or wherever it is, your office, wherever you're using this grid. And grids can also be placed in your office, right? A great place to put your abundance stones in all the different corners of your office, and then sealing that grid in, and then focusing on the abundance corner in your office and creating a little mini altar there. Maybe you're going to add a few more extra stones to really amplify that energy besides the grid. So that's a fun way to play with it as well. Okay, just an altar, right? Setting an altar up somewhere in your home and placing your crystal grid there. You can actually even just have this beautiful grid that you see here as an altar piece. It could be up against your altar. You can have some pictures kind of laying around by it. You can just have this be your altar space, but just a sacred space where you're going to be working with your crystals. Crystal boards are another really great way. I'm going to show you some pictures after this one of pre-designed boards that already have sacred geometry on them or mandalas on them. And you can place specific crystals on these boards to amplify the energy. And as you can see here, clear quartz is the definite good one to go with when you're adding extra crystals to create a grid, right? So if you don't necessarily know what crystals would be complementary to the one you're working with, always go with clear quartz because it can work with almost anything. But if you are creating a grid, you're going to want to work with crystals. Like I said, everything's got to be complementary. If you're creating a crystal grid for love or protection or abundance, make sure those crystals are specific for that grid. And here are some crystal grid boards, right? Look at how beautiful some of these are. You can really have fun and place them and play. It's this kind of artistic, meditative experience when you're making grids, right? You have a whole bag of just loose crystals and you kind of, you get to create what it is that you want. It's this meditative, artistic experience to tap into grid making. It's really fun. I definitely suggest you all try doing some grids. And as you can see, this one on the bottom right corner is a travel grid. It's a cloth grid. You can get almost any of these at a crystal shop, but you can travel with that little cloth grid, right? Bring it with you anywhere you go. Maybe bring it to your office. It's easy to just pack up and then set up your grid wherever you are. Here are some good examples of crystal grid boards. All right. So now we're going to talk about crystal cuts. So as you can see, crystals have so many unique cuts to them, and they hold unique properties based on how they are cut. So here are some examples of some of the most common ones, right? So we have the double tourmaline that has the points on either side. And these you'll see a lot with wands, right? So the wand energy with the tourmalated, the pointed side is the energy being pulled in, and a more flat side will be a specific one. It's pulling the energy in. And a tourmalated one on both sides is kind of that balance of the energy being pulled in and pulled out, pulled in and pulled out. As you can see here, the next one is a grounding crystal cut, and it has 8 sides, right? You can see all the different sides to that crystal. Another powerful one is a channeling crystal. For those of you that work with channeling or do automatic writing, which is where you hold a channel crystal and you just let yourself kind of write and channel that automated writing, just letting go, fully just tuning in. Those are powerful crystals to have during that process. And there's a trigger crystal I don't know too much about, Looks like one that's kind of got like a little impression on the side. And then crystal babies. These are really great. I've got a crystal that I'll share with you guys at the end that's got a crystal baby on it. I just love. That's just an extra little piece that's been grown off of the original crystal. Then we have crystal clusters, which is kind of going out in all directions. Then we have the Isis cut, which is specific energy. And you can look up all of these cuts to see the unique properties that they each hold. You see the Isis cut has 5 sides to it. And then we have the record keeper. Now this part's kind of cut off, but I found a picture where you can see the record keeper. It has little pyramids inside the crystal. So as you can see in this picture, there's these tiny little triangles, these pyramids, right? Held with inside the crystal. These are record keepers. These are really special ones. These are ones that hold deep ancient wisdom, is what they say. So these are really powerful ones. And then you have a self-healed, which is a self-healed boundary crystal, which has some sort of a cut and opening, right? Opening the energy out to be able to permeate more. And then you have the twin, which is 2 crystals that basically grew right next to each other, very similar in size. And the window, which is just a tiny little window that's been created right here. And opening up. And here's just some more points that you can see. Also, there's geodes. I'm sure some of you have seen some big geodes. Those are the pieces that have the actual rock formation still on the outside that have been cut, and all of the crystalline pieces on the inside. And this one here is the Isis crystal up close, Isis quartz crystal formation. It's like a terminated quartz. And you can see that perfect cut right there, pulling the energy in. And then one that wasn't covered was the inclusions. You can see the little cuts inside this one here on the bottom, right? And then the phantom, which will have different layers of these crystals inside. So much energy, right? And all of these cuts have so many unique properties. So there, as you can see, there's a lot of layers to play around with, a lot of layers to discover when working with crystals. So continued care, right? So you have all these amazing crystals, you've worked with them often and frequently, now what? So some of my suggestions of continued care is just to cleanse your crystals as often as needed. Some crystals need to be cleansed once a month. Some don't need to be cleansed hardly at all, especially if they're not being worked with people constantly. Remember, if you're bringing crystals to work with you, or they're in energetic spaces with a lot of energy around all the time, you're going to want to tune in and cleanse those more often, but just feel in and see how often those crystals will need to be cleansed. And as I mentioned before, if you are working with crystals in healing sessions or with clients or other people throughout the day, you're going to want to cleanse them more frequently after each session, right? You don't want to bring the other person's energy from the last healing on the crystals into the new person's crystal healing, right? You want to keep the crystals purified and cleansed for each person. And like I said, just discover which crystals work best for you. All the techniques that we covered and shared, there's so much to work with. Just figure out and discover what is best for you. And as I mentioned many times over, and I'm going to say it again, some crystals don't work well together. So study up on them and see which crystals would be good working together. Book I'm going to recommend for all of you that's really great is the Crystal Bible. Super easy to find on Amazon. You can get it at any crystal store. That's the best place to start. It's, really easy one, really easy to understand, very clear descriptions of exactly the energies, placement, how to work with the crystal in this book. And you can discover many other books from there. There's one called The Crystal Kingdom, which is more about channeled messages from the crystal realms. There's books on crystal gritting. There's books on everything you could possibly think of when it comes to working with crystals. So again, discover, dive in, explore, and find out what is best for you. So we're going to go ahead and stop the screen share. I'm going to come back with you all here, and I'm going to share with you just in person so you can see. This is my most sacred crystal. This is a Lumerian seed crystal, and this has a baby on it. So you see this little piece that's just grown right here on it. And this is my one that's with me all the time in all meditations and ceremonies and everything that I usually do out in the world is this crystal. So as you can see, it has that little baby that's just grown right onto it. All right. Whew, that was an information-packed night, huh? So much talking on my end. I want to just drop in with you all that are here. Please feel free to share your experience, questions, comments. I am here. Let's open it up. This is the time for you to speak and drop in and connect with us this evening. So this is the space. The floor is open. So feel free with any questions you have. I'm going to just see if there was any that were unanswered so far. Anything that you want to share about this evening that you picked up on. Okay, someone just said, can you show the slides again? They're good, but did anyone need me to show a specific slide, or has everyone got, okay, figured it out. Perfect. All right. Any questions? How was that for everyone? Did the information land? Anything you need extra support on? How your experience was? Love to hear from anyone who feels open to share. Clearly, I'm very passionate about crystals. I've worked with them for so long, and I absolutely love sharing and diving in with them. And there are so many crystals, and there's so many crystals that aren't just the surface crystals like the rose quartz, the aventurine, the citrine. There's some pretty rare crystals out there that have powerful properties that I've actually had the privilege of being able to touch and work with for different experiences. And they hold such unique energy. So really start to discover and dive in on the powers of the crystal kingdom, because it's very vast and expansive. Okay, so someone said, just going to answer some questions now. Amazing. How can we work with the record keeper? It depends on exactly what you want to work with the record keeper and what type of a crystal you're working with. Is it a clear quartz? Is it a rose quartz? It would most likely be a clear quartz or a smoky quartz to be able to see the record keeping. So you're going to want to tune in more of the record keeping energy as this ancient wisdom, right? So it's hard to say specifically what the ancient wisdom is going to be. But general rule of thumb, it's going to just kind of be more of a channeling, intuitive journeying process, right? So you're going to have some deep meditations with those crystal keepers and the information that they hold. Okay. All right. Oh, and I also want to just say hi to all the YouTube viewers too. We have a lot of people here from YouTube. Welcome. All right. Yes. Yeah, someone just commented that it's all so interesting, very mind-blowing with all the information there is. It is a vast world, the crystal kingdom. There is a lot to play with. And sometimes we just go to a crystal shop and grab a crystal and we're like, oh, this is great. But there's so much more deeper layers and undertones there to work with. So it's really profound. Right, clear quartz, I just picked it up. It called me. And you've had it for 5 years. Now it wants to work with you. Amazing. Yep. That's a powerful one. Clear quartz. So much can be done with those. Okay. Someone said I wasn't able to take pictures of the slides. Is it possible for me to share? Yeah, I'm just going to wait until after the full evening and then I can share with you. Just so if I just want to, for anyone that's already gone through that, we'll just have you wait till the end and I'll bring the slides back up to make sure you can take the pictures. Okay, someone said, I wrote this originally in the question and answer section. Haven't heard of this, but practicing remote viewing. I was wondering if crystals can be used during remote viewing sessions. Absolutely. I would work with probably channeling crystals or crystals that are going to be more for activation. If you're working on remote viewing, for those of you that don't know, is a specific psychic ability of being able to tune in and view situations as they're happening, right? To be able to go wherever you close your eyes, go into the meditative state and actually remote view of live events that are happening here and now, wherever they are happening in the world, in the multidimensional spaces that we're in as well, far beyond this plane. That's remote viewing. So yes, you're going to want to work with specific activating crystals. And I would invite you to learn more about crystals for remote viewing, right? So start to learn and tap into that. Question from a YouTuber. What crystal is good for pain? I have neurological pain. Okay, that's a good one. I would start working with amethyst. Amethyst is really powerful for pain. It's a really good universal one. And then I would look up specific for neurological pain. I can't think of one off the top of my head that's specific for that. But like I said, the crystal kingdom is so specific and vast that there will be one that will be specific for neurological pain. So I would do a quick search for that one. Okay, and then someone said, I have collected a lot of crystals. How and where do you store them and keep them? I have bought a wooden tray and keep them in and on the selenite piece. Do I need to cover them or can I put them in a velvet bag? Crystal keeping, you get to let your intuition be your guide. I have bags, velvet bags with a bunch of crystals in them. Sometimes I have them all displayed out. There's no wrong or right way of where to store your crystals. If you're going to put them all in a bag or in a bowl together, again, you want to be mindful of complementary crystals. So just, when you're going to put a bag together, get them all laid out and put specific ones in specific bags or bowls if you're going to have those out. Someone said, love the presentation and information, really enjoyed it. Amazing. Thank you so much for being here. Glad you enjoyed this. Yes. Okay. Have you ever do I have experience with a phantom quartz? I want to say that I have, but I cannot remember the specific memory because I've done some pretty deep meditations working with people that are have a very vast crystal collection. And I can't remember if one of them was a phantom quartz, but I'm going to just say no, because I can't recall the specifics of that memory. But if you have a story about a phantom quartz, I would love to hear it. Okay. And then I dug up a cluster clear quartz, and it had a window in it. Amazing. I believe the window energy is about opening and expansion. Think of a window, right? So it's opening up into the crystal realm. It's opening the energy up. Okay, a question from a YouTuber. Oh, it just says, thanks for sharing the knowledge. Absolutely. Thank you too. And we just have some questions over here as well. Yep, got that answer. Yeah, so much, right? There's so much information. So many different ways to play and work with these crystals. So thank you all so much for being here. I know that we're at 7:30. I'm going to stay on for anyone that has any further questions and also go over the slides again for those that were unable to take pictures or be more present with them and write anything down they need to. Again, it is so my honor, deepest gratitude to be able to share this information with you. The Crystal Kingdom is so near and dear to my heart, and I just hope that you get to explore and expand your journey with the power that these crystals hold. So thank you again so much for tuning in and joining us tonight. This has been an amazing evening, and it's just, again, my honor and so grateful. And I'm just sending so much blessings and so much joy and bliss into all of your lives. Thank you for being you. Thank you. And again, I'm going to stay here. Any questions, we can just chat. Anyone that has anything on, if you need to go, you can totally go. So we're at 7:30, but if you want to stay here, I'm happy to answer any more questions, make sure everyone's got all the information clear, anything they need help with. Thank you all so much again for being here. Yes, goodbye to all the ones that need to leave. Quick question says, do I put them into my water to drink? Absolutely. Yep. Especially if you're working with a specific type of healing, you're going to want to find crystals unique for that healing, place it in your water and charge it up. And I also shared that there are crystal water bottles now that have been created, many different diverse types, but you can find water bottles that already have the crystals built in. Okay, someone said I have a crystal quartz. I think you mean pendulum. Pendleton, and it has a small, yes, pendulum, yeah, and it has a small crystal, like it has a small little window in it, or like a small little piece in it that's yellow. Is that what you mean? Oh, it's a yellow crystal. Oh, amazing. Yeah. Crystal pendulums are really, really powerful. I've actually been putting some information together for a specific pendulum class that will be at a later date for those of you that are interested in that. But pendulums are powerful. Powerful divination tools. Okay. Someone says, quick question here. What is the use of the pyramid-shaped crystal? I have heard of the smaller crystals that you can hold in your hand. Are you talking about the record keeper with the little the little pyramids inside? Is that the one you're specifically speaking about? And then also, what do you use bigger crystals for? Bigger crystals are really to magnify this, amplify the space, I find. So I have all my larger geodes, and larger crystals are more display pieces that are in my home or in the specific areas of my house to maximize that energy. But that was what I would use the larger pieces for. You know, obviously the smaller ones are more travel friendly, easier to work with placing on the body, putting them in baths and such. But geodes, large pieces, are more to just really bring that power and potency into your home and your space, right? So they're large size. It means they're going to really expand and stretch out and share their potency. So a message from YouTube says, hello, I wish I would have caught this from the beginning. Don't worry, you are going to get a record. I believe there's a recording that we're going to have. Yes, because I know that it's recorded. So don't worry if you didn't make it in the beginning, it's totally okay. There's going to be a recording of this and you'll be able to go back and review it. So amazing. Yeah, we'll have the recording. I just double confirmation. Thank you so much for letting me know that too. All right. So we're just starting to wind down. Before we go back into the slides, I'm just going to open it up. If there's any last questions, anyone needs to say anything. Who's going to go charge their crystals up, do some water charging with their crystals tonight? Okay, quick. For back pain, I'm going to just go ahead and do the rule of thumb right now for, I want to say back pain. I want to say jade. I want to say green jade is good for back pain and aventurine. But look that up specifically. I've been thinking of so many different crystals right now that I'm not able, I'm like, wait a minute, is it jade? Or I want to say, I know it's a green one. So just look it up. And also, like I suggested, if you get the Crystal Bible book, there's a section in the very back of the book that will go over every single ailment, every physical injury, anything you can name of, everything down to labor, right? There's specific crystals that can help you during labor, during surgery, so many things, divorces, separations, dealing with paperwork, lawyers. So they're in this section in the back of the Crystal Bible. You can literally go back pain and it'll show you all the crystals unique for that specific thing. So really the greatest book everyone can go home with tonight would be the Crystal Bible. You can get it on Amazon, I'm sure. All right. Did I miss the chi coil you talked about? Can you be more specific about the chi coil? I was just referring to the chi coil to be able to be used for charging crystals and adding the frequencies into the crystals. Oh, and two, by the way, you guys, if you go to the Chi Life store, there's tons of crystals there. So many crystal necklaces and necklaces that'll touch your skin as well, right? Direct contact with those crystals. Tons of great adornments, jewelry, and crystal pieces. So go check out the Chi Life store for your crystals as well. Okay, so one more question says, how do you find a crystal store? Super easy. You can just basically Google wherever your location is, Yelp it, spiritual store, crystal shop, any one of those will help kind of guide you and navigate you to a proper crystal store. So that should be good there. Someone just says, thank you so much. I've learned quite a lot tonight. Yep, absolutely. Thank you too for being here. All right, so I'm going to jump into the slides real quick and bring us back to that. Have your phones ready now, because I'm just going to go through them. And then you can just take quick pictures for those of you that were unable to have the pictures of the slides, okay? So we're gonna just do a quick slide review. All right. And again, if I didn't answer your question specifically, I'm not going anywhere. Please keep adding it in the chat. My greatest joy and wish would be for you to have all the information and to be clear and feel confident and have everything you need to be able to go out into the world and use this information. So if there's any area, any part where you're like, oh, I'm not really sure about that. What does that actually mean? Can you be more descriptive here? I'm here to help. So just my goal is for you to have the information. So, all right, let's go back to the slide presentation. have your phones ready and let's do this. Okay, so this was the first one, what are crystals? Can also read so much great information about this. So I'm just going to go through these pretty quickly here. So let's be ready. Lab grown versus natural slide. Again, you can have a very deep dive of information to go more descriptive here. Then we have selecting crystals. Crystal cleansing. All the ways to cleanse the crystals. Charging your crystals. Setting intentions. Crystal placement. This is a good one to take a picture of. I'm going to pull up the chat too because I'll be able to see it and do this at the same time. Okay. Working with crystals. Crystals for love. Crystals for abundance. Crystals for protection. Crystals for manifesting. Crystals for stress. Crystals for depression. Grids. Some more pictures of crystal grid boards. And then the cuts and types. More specific with cuts and types. Another slide of that. And then continued care. All right. So let me know for there's a couple of people that needed the slides to be reviewed. If you can just, let me know that you got everything before closing that down. And again, any final questions, comments, anything anyone needs to say, happy to answer before we end our evening. And then you get to go and play with all your crystals tonight, get everything out, start setting intentions, getting grids set up, charging your water. Awesome. Yes. Thank you too. Thank you. Yes, they are so important. Someone was just saying, I had no idea crystals are so important. They are so important. They are such powerful supporters. All right. Just going to leave the last little moments open for any final questions when it comes to the Crystal Kingdom. Or any questions you have at all. Metaphysical stuff, happy to help and answer. It's been a powerful night being and sharing this space with you all. Okay, let me see here. Any final questions? Making sure I answered all these. Perfect. Okay. Then that is it. That completes our night. No further questions. Thank you all so much. Again, sending you so much blessings, so much love and prosperity and joy into your life. May the crystal kingdom shine upon you, and may it work with you in such intimate ways to help support, heal, and lend a hand in this earth incarnation, and sending so much positive energy your way. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you to Chi Life for hosting. Blessings all around. Have a beautiful evening. Take care, everyone.